Do you ever notice that your energy isn't what it used to be? Your response feels slower, or your circulation just doesn't kick in the way it once did? Most men I speak to quietly tell themselves, this is just aging, and they move on. And many of them reach for green tea, trusting it because they've heard it's good for the heart and for men. But here's the part no one talks about. I'm a board-certified urologist, and I've worked with men your age for decades. And what I see every day is that most men are using green tea at the wrong time, in the wrong way, or without something critical their body now needs. Before we go further, tell me where you're watching from. And if this topic matters to you, stay with me and consider subscribing because this detail changes everything. But here's what most people don't realize. Green tea doesn't suddenly become useless when you turn 50. Yet many men feel exactly that way. They drink it faithfully, sometimes every morning, expecting that same light. Energy, that same sense of circulation or calm focus they once felt years ago. And when it doesn't happen, they quietly assume the tea was overrated. Or worse, that their body is simply past the point of responding. I hear this all the time in my clinic. Men tell me, "Doctor, I tried green tea. It didn't really do much for me." What they don't realize is that the tea didn't change. Their body did. When you were younger, green tea worked almost effortlessly because your systems were more responsive. Your blood vessels were more flexible. Your cells listened faster. The natural compounds in green tea, especially its K-cans, could support nitric oxide signaling without much resistance. Nitric oxide is what helps blood vessels relax and widen, improving circulation throughout the body, including areas that matter deeply to male confidence. In a younger body, that signal travels smoothly, like water through a clean pipe. So even a mild push from something like green tea. Why green tea alone stops working could create a noticeable effect. But after 50, that signaling pathway doesn't work the same way. Nitric oxide production naturally declines with age. Blood vessels stiffen slightly over time, not because you failed, but because biology shifts. On top of that, many men are dealing with low-grade inflammation, years of stress, medications, or metabolic changes that further dull that signal. So when green tea sends its gentle message, the body doesn't fully receive it. The result is subtle disappointment. You drink the tea, but you don't feel the response you were hoping for. There's another layer most men never think about, and that's absorption. As we age, the gut doesn't absorb nutrients the way it used to. The lining of the intestines changes. Enzyme activity shifts. Even beneficial compounds can pass through without being fully utilized. Green tea K-cans are delicate. They require proper gut conditions to be absorbed efficiently. In men over 50, especially those with digestive sluggishness, reflux, or irregular eating patterns, much of what's good in green tea never fully makes it into circulation. Then there's the liver. The liver is responsible for processing many of the compounds you consume, including those in green tea. Over decades, the liver becomes more efficient at clearing substances from the bloodstream. That sounds like a good thing, but it also means beneficial compounds can be broken down or removed more quickly than before. So even when K-cans are absorbed, they may not stay active long enough to create a noticeable effect. This is one of the reasons men say, "I feel it for a day or two, then nothing." Or, "I never felt anything at all." This is where expectations clash with reality. Green tea was never designed to be a powerful standalone solution for an aging male body. It's supportive, not corrective. In younger men, support is often enough. In men over 50, support without. Reinforcement rarely delivers results. Cations can encourage healthy circulation, but they cannot rebuild weakened signaling on their own. They can gently assist nitric oxide, but they cannot restore it to youthful levels by themselves. And they certainly cannot overcome deficiencies or metabolic slowdowns that quietly develop over time. So, when men abandon green tea, blaming it for not working, they're missing the real issue. Green tea isn't bad. It isn't a scam, and it isn't useless. It's incomplete for the body you have now. It's like trying to light a room with a dimmer switch. When the wiring behind the wall is aging, the switch still works, but without proper support behind it, the light never fully turns on. And this is where most men unknowingly block its effect, not by doing something wrong on purpose, but by relying on green tea alone, without realizing what their body now quietly requires to make it work again. Now, here's the mistake most men make without ever realizing it. They focus on stimulants, teas, or natural boosters, but they overlook the one switch their circulation actually depends on. And this is where the first missing piece comes in. And I want to be very clear about its name, erythroline. I say it slowly to my patients because this is not a trendy word. It's a foundational one. Circulation is the foundation of male potency. And without proper circulation, no tea, herb, or habit can deliver what you're hoping for. L-citrulline supports nitric oxide production. That's its core role, and it's critical. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells your blood vessels to relax and open. When that signal is strong, blood flows where it needs to go. When it's weak, everything downstream feels muted. Energy feels flat. Response feels delayed. Confidence quietly erodes. In younger men, the body produces nitric oxide easily. After 50, that production slows. And this is where L-citrulline matters more than most. Men realize. Here's the simple biology without the medical jargon. When you consume L-citrulline, your body converts it into another amino acid called l'arginine. L-arginine is what directly feeds nitric oxide production inside your blood vessels. Think of L-citrulline as the delivery truck and L-arginine as the fuel. Without the delivery truck, the fuel never reaches the engine. Many men try to skip this step, not knowing that l'arginine alone doesn't stay in the body very long, especially as we age. L-citrulline, on the other hand, circulates longer and works more efficiently in older bodies. Once nitric oxide production improves, blood vessels begin to relax. This relaxation is not dramatic or sudden. It's gradual and physiological, the way the body is meant to work. Relaxed vessels allow better blood flow throughout the body, including the pelvic region. This is not about forcing anything. It's about restoring a signal your body used to send naturally. When that signal returns, circulation follows. Now, this circulation explained is where green tea fits into the picture. Green tea contains compounds that can encourage nitric oxide activity, but they cannot activate this pathway on their own once it has weakened. Green tea whispers to the system. L-citrulline restores the system's ability to listen. Without L-citrulline, green tea is like knocking on a door that no longer opens easily. With it, the door actually responds. This is why some men say green tea used to work but doesn't anymore. The pathway it depends on is underpowered. For men over 50, the real-life effects of restoring this pathway are subtle but meaningful. Morning response becomes more reliable not because of stimulation, but because blood flow is present when the body naturally needs it. Endurance improves not just physically, but mentally. You feel steadier, less rushed, more in control, and confidence begins to return in a quiet way. Not the loud confidence of youth, but the grounded confidence of a body that's responding again. I often tell my patients that circulation is not about performance tricks. It's about communication. When blood flows properly, the body feels safe. When the body feels safe, everything works better. L-citrulline helps restore that sense of internal communication. And this is exactly why green tea alone can't flip this switch anymore. It doesn't provide the raw material needed to rebuild the signal. It only supports a signal that must already exist. But even with better circulation, many men still feel flat. And here's why. But here's what most men don't realize until years later. You can improve circulation, get blood moving again, and still feel like something is missing. I see this often. A man tells me, "Doctor, things are better, but I don't feel solid. My drive isn't there. My sleep is light. I don't recover the way I used to." And this is where the second missing piece quietly shows itself. Zinc. I want to say that clearly because zinc is not optional for the male body. It is a gatekeeper. Zinc is required for proper testosterone signaling. Not just testosterone levels on a lab sheet, but how testosterone actually works inside your body. Many men don't realize this difference. You can have testosterone present, but if zinc is low, the signal doesn't land. It's like having a key that no longer fits the lock. After 50, zinc deficiency becomes extremely common. Not because men are careless, but because absorption declines, medications interfere, and stress steadily drains reserves over time. Let me explain the biology in simple terms. Zinc activates critical enzymes inside the body. These enzymes are responsible for converting raw hormonal signals into usable instructions. Without zinc, those enzymes slow down. Testosterone doesn't disappear, but it becomes less effective. The body hears it faintly instead of clearly. This is why men say, "My labs look fine, but I don't feel fine." The signal is there, but it's not being translated properly. Zinc also plays a direct role in testosterone receptor sensitivity. Think of receptors as antennas. When zinc levels are healthy, those antennas are upright and responsive. When zinc is low, the antennas bend. The message weakens over time. This leads to lower drive, slower recovery, and a general sense of flatness that men often blame on age. It's not age, it's a communication breakdown. There's another role zinc plays that most men don't connect until it's explained. Prostate health? The prostate naturally concentrates zinc. It uses zinc to regulate inflammation, cellular turnover, and hormonal balance locally. When zinc runs low, the prostate becomes more vulnerable to irritation and dysfunction. This doesn't always show up as pain. Sometimes it shows up as nighttime bathroom trips, disrupted sleep, or a subtle feeling that something is off. Green tea can support prostate health indirectly, but it cannot replace zinc. It simply doesn't contain it in meaningful amounts. And this brings us to an important truth. Green tea does not supply zinc. No matter how much you drink, you are not replenishing this mineral. So men assume they're doing something healthy while a quiet deficiency continues underneath. Over time, the body adapts by lowering expectations. Drive softens, recovery slows, sleep becomes lighter, more fragile. You wake up easily, you don't feel deeply rested, and slowly confidence follows that same downward slope. In the real world, low zinc shows up in very predictable ways. Low drive is often the first sign. Not dramatic loss, just a dulling of interest. Poor recovery follows. Workouts leave you sore longer. Mental fatigue lingers. Then sleep begins to suffer. You fall asleep, but you don't stay asleep. Or you sleep through the night, but wake up feeling unrefreshed. Men rarely connect the missing pieces, these dots, because they happen. Gradually, quietly. I often tell my patients that zinc doesn't make you feel amped. It makes you feel grounded, stable, more like yourself. It restores the body's ability to respond to its own hormones. And without that response, circulation alone won't create the result men are looking for. Blood can flow, but the signal that tells the body how to use that blood is still weak. This is why green tea, even paired with better circulation, can leave men feeling disappointed. It supports health, but it doesn't restore hormonal communication. Zinc does that work, and once zinc is addressed, many men finally understand why they felt stuck for so long. And even men who fix hormones still miss one final piece. Now, here's what most people never connect until it's explained clearly. You can improve circulation and support hormones and still feel restless, tense, or not fully restored. Men often tell me, "Doctor, my numbers look better, but my sleep is still light. I wake up stiff, I feel wired, but tired." And this is where the third piece quietly brings everything together. Magnesium. I want to say that plainly because magnesium is not a supplement trend. It's an integration mineral. It's what allows the body to actually use the improvements you've already made. Magnesium calms nerves and improves cellular energy. That's its core role. It doesn't stimulate, it stabilizes. And after 50, stability is what most men are missing. Over time, magnesium levels drop due to stress, medications, sweating, and reduced absorption. When magnesium runs low, the nervous system stays slightly on all the time. Not anxious in an obvious way, but alert, guarded, unable to fully relax. And a body that can't relax can't perform or recover properly. Let's walk through the biology simply. Magnesium allows muscles to relax after they contract. Without enough magnesium, muscles stay subtly tight. This shows up as morning stiffness, tight hips, or a feeling that your body never fully lets go at night. Even blood vessels rely on this relaxation. You can have nitric oxide present, but if the surrounding muscle tissue is tense, circulation is still restricted. Magnesium allows that relaxation to actually happen. Magnesium also stabilizes nerve signals. Your nerves communicate through electrical impulses. Magnesium acts like a buffer, preventing those signals from firing too easily or too often. When magnesium is low, nerves become jumpy. Sleep becomes lighter. You wake more easily. Your body reacts more strongly to stress, even small stress. This constant low-level alert state interferes with everything from sleep depth to hormonal balance to nighttime recovery. There's another role magnesium plays that many men overlook: blood sugar control. Magnesium helps cells respond properly to insulin. When magnesium is low, blood sugar becomes less stable. That instability triggers stress hormones, especially at night. This is one reason men wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning and can't fall back asleep. The body senses imbalance and switches into alert mode. Green tea, especially when consumed alone, can worsen this issue. Its mild stimulating effect without magnesium to buffer the nervous system can further drain magnesium stores over time. This is an important point. Green tea is not harmful, but taken alone, especially later in the day, it can quietly worsen magnesium deficiency. Men don't feel wired like they would with coffee, but their nervous system doesn't fully settle. Over months or years, this contributes to light sleep, nighttime urination, and that familiar feeling of never being fully rested. It's not the tea itself, it's the missing support. For men over 50, magnesium's real-life impact is often felt at night and in the morning. Nighttime urination becomes less frequent when the nervous system calms and bladder signaling stabilizes. Morning stiffness eases as muscles finally relax overnight. Stress response softens. You don't react as sharply. You feel more patient, more grounded. This calm state is not passive. It's powerful. It's what allows circulation and hormones to work together instead of fighting against tension. I often tell my patients that magnesium doesn't add something new. It removes interference. It allows the body to return to a more natural rhythm. And this is why men who fix circulation and hormones but ignore magnesium often feel stuck. The system has power but no coordination. Magnesium is what ties sleep, nerves, blood flow, and recovery into one functioning whole. When magnesium is finally in place, many final takeaway men describe a quiet shift. Sleep deepens. The body feels heavier in a good way at night. Mornings feel less rigid. There's less internal noise, and suddenly, the benefits of green tea, improved circulation, and hormonal support actually show up in daily life. Now here's what most men never realize about using these together. But here's the part I want you to really hear, especially if you've been quietly frustrated for a long time. What you've been feeling was never a sign that your body was giving up. It wasn't age suddenly catching up to you. It was your body responding logically to the conditions it was given. When the signals are weak, the response is weak. That's not failure. That's feedback. I've sat across from countless men who felt discouraged, even embarrassed, thinking they had somehow lost something permanent. And every time I remind them of this truth, your body is not broken. It's adaptive. It adjusts to what's available. When support is missing, it conserves. When support returns, it responds quietly, gradually, honestly. Your body isn't failing you. It's asking for support. Support that matches the stage of life you're in now. Not shortcuts, not force, just alignment. And when things are aligned, confidence doesn't need to be chased. It settles back in. Sleep deepens. Energy feels steadier. You stop questioning yourself so much. What matters most is realizing you're not powerless here. You're not at the mercy of age. You're still in control of how your body is treated and how it responds. That awareness alone changes how a man carries himself. Calm replaces frustration. Trust replaces doubt. And when you approach your health from that place, everything begins to feel different. Not overnight, but in a way that lasts. If this conversation made you pause and think, that tells me you're paying attention to your body, and that matters. The men here are not looking for hype or quick fixes. They're looking for understanding, longevity, and self-respect. If you want to keep learning in a calm, grounded way, I invite you to subscribe and be part of this community. It's a place for men who value awareness over fear and clarity over noise. In the next video, I'll talk about a common timing mistake I see men make that quietly cancels these benefits. And once you notice it, you'll never overlook it.